Good afternoon everybody, welcome here. I'm Cristiano Romano and we are here at Bathurst, Mount Panorama. We are in Australia and we are here for nearly the end of the season. We are in for the 11th week for the Endurance Series brought to you by ACC Drive. And as always, 3 hours. Multi-class racing, GT3 and GT4. And this time around in one of possibly the most difficult tracks on which you want to have an endurance race, because we are at the moment in a 6.2 kilometers long racetrack, 23 turns. We are looking at it from the helicam, from the, well, at least here we are in turn 3 at the cutting, but this track is phenomenal for a multiple amount of reasons. The one being, the major one being that the walls are there. It's practically, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous tracks in GT racing. I think it's a close, obviously not as much as, but it's close to the Nürburgring in terms of difficulty. Because if you do a single mistake, that's 95% of the time. If you make a mistake, that's game over for you, because the walls are there. You can see here on the SS section from 11 to 17 downhill, and you have to brake and turn at the same time, close to the wall, as close as you can, and usually someone doesn't make it out of this section. Speaking of the Nürburgring, I think many German fans are happy of what just passed, so the 24-hour Nürburgring. Obviously I will not make any spoiler about what happened, because maybe someone didn't see the ending or parts of the race. Maybe they want to recover them. But it was a quite pleasant race, and after one endurance, another one comes. After 24 hours the Nürburgring, in real life, here we are for another 3 hours, this time in Australia, in the other side of the world. Now the weather at the moment, looking at the track, is hot. 29 degrees is the air temperature and 34 is the track temperature. In the qualifying race it should remain the same. It should. See, nothing is confirmed, but it's only a 3% chance of rain. So I really doubt that we'll see any major difficulty in terms of weather. Now, as always, 48 minutes stint timer, and in terms of championship, we are here at the moment with GT3. Oh, this is the procedure. Apologies. With GT3 overall, that is. Maybe I have to refresh it because it's constantly getting on and on in cycling mode. With competition racing is leading with 600 points, with Semi-C Endurance by Barminia about 3000 points behind. Fisher Racing Esports follows with 255 competition and a new engine in the top 5. In GT4 we've got the dynamic MS Youngstars with 5000 points ahead of 4 Club, about 1500 points ahead. Firefly Racing follows another 1000 points behind for Club. Apex Predators Racing team in 4th, 5th place for Akibua Racing. In the last race in Spa, so let's have to refresh, but it's showing the 24 hour. Probably it needs something that I'm missing. I mean, maybe I know the issue. Just give me a second. I'm pretty sure I know what the reason for that is. So if I go here and I take these, it's the GT3. Why are you picking up the championship standings? Oh, because it's effectively the championship standings. Yeah, okay, Fancy I copy pasted the wrong link, and now I don't have the fast link anymore, so that's a bit of an issue. But I will just tell you here, just to be quick on it. Last time in Paul Ricard. It was Hoplite Esports team taking... Yes, this is the correct one. Taking the win with Tatum Restek in second place, Firefly Racing in third, MR Reparto Coaching and Motor Sharks Esports in fourth, and then fifth place in GT3, whilst in GT4 it was Ford Club winning with Drive Thru Sim Racing, Dynamic LMS Youngsters in third, with MR Reparto Coaching in fourth, and Desmo Racing in fifth place in class in GT4. And these are all important, these classifications are all important because at the very end of the championship we've got, as this is, I need this one here. Okay. That's correct. We've got the oh, it's not there. It means, oh no, wait, we have to go back here because qualifying has started. So we're trying to do 3 things at once, and I managed to mess up things I will be honest. But for the prizes for the Endurance Championship, there is a price of 10 licenses for ACC Drive for the winning team in both GT3 and GT4, so that's why it's extremely important to mention both the GT3 and the GT4 categories, as they are equally important in terms of pricing pool. Now it's going to be odd to see the qualifying session because, as you can see, well, if you're new, you are probably not used to this, but both classes are on track at the same time, and so this means that both classes have to be careful about the other ones around them, and it's going to be extremely important to place your car in a perfect place, because if you encounter a GT4 in the mountain section, this means that your lap as a GT3 is possibly done, unless the car in front has blue flags, which doesn't really happen that often. As I think here the 109 is going to be the first car to set a lap time to do 43, so I'm not entirely sure, because unfortunately you can see from the minimap on the right part of, oh, there's a wall for the Mercedes GT4, for ENG. That was the CRT getting onto the wall. Nobody's showing us on a valid lap because of ACC funnies. So I don't know who is on a lap and who is not. Like, I have physically no idea, because in the race control is showing like 4 minutes for everybody. But I suppose Christian is going to be the first car to set a lap time. That MG, that was the 407, is going to be in a lot of struggles, because soon the entirety of the GT3 pack is coming to their position, and their lap will be ruined anyway, because they will have to give the way to the GT3 whether they want it or not, because the faster class will probably use a bit of aggressiveness to pass through, as Kritin gets over the line. So this wasn't a bad lap for Kritin. 103, Andrea Miatto for Tatum Restek going across the line, and even for them, not a valid lap time. Prudensky is going to be the first car with a counted lap time. That's Prudensky in first with a 2:00.5. Brandon follows in second place for West Competition Racing, and Mattia Max is in third at the moment. Now in fourth, as Dimitri Panarin is now in second place in the McLaren, and for them 2:0.9, not at 0.5. Milan Kiss put the DTS car in fourth place with makes Vatko in 5th, and Mattia makes that lost the position on Manuel Wagner, because he is now in the Bentley in 2nd place, in a 108 Bentley for Firefly Racing, 0.6. So as of now, not astonishingly quick lap times. They seem to be slower than the usual, especially because I expect a 59 or even more, a 58 in the upcoming minutes. But this is what I was mentioning earlier, as the ENG has to endure the fact that many GT3s are passing through. Luckily for them, they are on a straight, so they are not really getting impacted here on the Conrad straight into turn 20 and 21 and 22 into the chase. But they are on a lap time and they are effectively ruining Wedinski's lap time. Benvu is off at this point. Brennan with a very interesting livery. Considering the 24-hour. Brennan goes in pole in the 101 for West Competition Racing. 2:00.0, just shy of the 59, as Panarin made a 0.4. So that's 2nd place for Panarin. Pojedinski is still in 3rd. There is a good improvement for Wagner in the Firefly Racing Bentley, as Freytag went from 11th to 7th with a 0.1, and Wagner goes back in 2nd with a 0.3. And that is tense, huh? Not many others are improving. In GT4, we've got the dynamic MS Youngstars in a Mercedes 401 with Polyakov on the wheel. Matthew Hughes is in 2nd for Upper Expert Racing Team, and then in 3rd we've got Christian Bruders for Calix Racing Team in the 405. Which is not the one that is getting lapped by the entirety of the field here. Which is the 407 in 4th. And there is a yellow flag. That's a 107. There was an incident. It was a 107 into the wall. There was a GT4 there. Oh, that's a huge bonk into the wall. Yeah, that's obviously the car ruined and the lap over. The 114 also had an incident just seconds ago. This is a Strider Motorsport Lexus on the hairpin as he comes through, and okay, he just decided that the lap wasn't worthy. And so he went back into the pits as Flo Van Das in 17th is now into the grass, but now going into the pits, currently last in class. As Kritin is improving by 0.2 currently. And then going into the downhill spiral, the SS, which is a left, right, left, right, left, right, all while going downstairs, all while braking and turning at the same time, and you have to maintain your focus for the whole duration of the section, and that is also one of the places where you can gain the most time, also because on the very first sector we just have 2 turns, then going uphill it's a flow of turns that if you have the correct setup you just have to press the throttle and steer at the right time. You can't really make more than that. That's a maximum achievable outcome. While if you go through the S's, you need something more. Critin goes for 7th, improving a tiny bit more. That's at 0.9 for Team 32. That's apparently half a second for Pagliai in the MR Reparto coaching. The Italian is now going into turn 23. 90-degree corner to get into second place at 0.1, but still behind the 59.9 set by West Competition Racing with Oyster and Brenum on the wheel, which is still in the pits for now. There seems to be a good improvement here from Bathurst, the ECC Racing team, the Mercedes 117. At the moment they are in 15th. They are improving by 6 tenths, which would throw the car into 13th. Still plenty of time left though for the qualifying efforts, although House may remain around 15th as he goes over the line to put the car in 14th. Only one place done. Matthew Hughes is currently 4th in class in the Ginetta. But he is improving, and even a 10th would put the car in 3rd. To get into 2nd, he will need 4 tenths. To get into 1st place, it's impossible, because Polyakov has 1.5 second, nearly 1.4 seconds advantage on Francesco Livraghi. As Hughes goes over the line to put the car in 3rd, 12.4 for the Ginetta. The 402 here is just there in 3rd. Oh, someone else improving. Trying to see, because at the moment Petzold is on the wheel, possibly to get a feeling of the car. At the moment he's dominating qualifying section, but the race could be different. Could be the difference here in the pace of these cars as Petzold goes over the gravel. And the Silver Hall, moment in the 116 Bentley in 11th place. He's trying to improve. 01.3 currently set on the leaderboard. 1.3 seconds off Brennan. And as I was saying, 3 times could throw the car into the top 10. Because this could be... Oh, there is a wall there, and that's not going to be top 10 for the Bentley. Silver roll into the wall. This is a massive crash. So we can go on board the Bentley to see what happened as he goes. Oh, he didn't brake in time, and then he lost the rear, and then he lost the car altogether. So the 401 is also having some issues here as it goes back into the pits. And the Robinson in the McLaren for Fusion Racing Team. The McLaren goes over the line to put the car in 14th. There isn't an improvement for Brennan. There hasn't been one from anybody, to be fair, because Pagliai is also still in 2nd. Wagner is not really improving, as Maniram just put the car in 9th place for close quarter racing. 2 milliseconds behind Kritin. So there's another yellow flag here, but the same for the 118. I'm not sure if many cars are struggling as Podolinsky goes in third. He gained 2 attempts in the last corner. So possibly that was the only thing that he messed up in the prior laps. Because I saw the gap going from the delta going from 0.0 to 0.2 in literally one corner. So that was a very good one for Podolinsky as he goes in third now for the 104 lineup. So there's another yellow flag, this time it's a GT4 in the cutting. We are just approaching here, but it just went back into the pits. Wagner is trying to improve. I saw a 10th, but then disappeared. Still, there is a good chunk of the track remaining. And Wagner is currently only 10 milliseconds behind Podolinsky, so he literally needs the shortest amount possible to gain another place, which doesn't seem much, but in Bathurst, a single place could be the difference between inside line in turn 1 and a loss of 3 places because you get sent into the gravel. So it's actually extremely important to get your car set up even in qualifying, even because it's extremely difficult to make overtakes here. So the further up you are, the better it is. Wagner goes across the line to remain in 4th place. It was at 0.5 the last lap, so it wasn't an improvement. It was a glimpse for Panarin, as he also went a 10th faster early on, but he now lost the time. Podolinsky ahead, going onto the last corner here. He is improving. He did improve. Not enough to get 2nd place. He will remain in 3rd, but he improved the gap between himself and Wagner behind. As the leader, remember that this team has already won the championship. But Brennan now into the last corner with a heavy improvement, as the car is pretty balanced and pretty quick. And now the time that has to be beaten is a 59.8. As it stands, Daisy is the only team that managed to get below the 2-minute mark. And we have to get through the first 9 cars to then get into our first 201, which ironically is improving as Kevin Mannerheim is now in 10th and Freytag is now in 8th, putting Kritin in the edge of the top 10. As a heavy improvement came from Silverall in the Bentley, putting the car in 7th place. Christian Brothers 12.452, 7 milliseconds behind his rival Matthew Hughes in 3rd, but Brothers is improving by 3 tenths of a second, and he possibly has the chance to get into 2nd because Liveraki is 2 tenths in front. So will he make it into 2nd place? He does. He gets a 12.1, 1.2 seconds behind the leader still, but 2nd place for the CRT Mercedes AMG. As Podolinsky improved even more, but still not enough to get into 2nd, but this time barely, only 13 milliseconds behind Pagliai in 2nd place. Mattia Max for Alfa Racing Team in the Honda. He is pushing as hard as he can, as Wagner is only 47 milliseconds up front, and he's pushing a lot. He is definitely risking it all. Because at worst he is going to be 5th. At best, he could be actually 3rd. Looking at the delta, 3 times. 3 times so far gained on himself. And this would be 2nd place if he can maintain this. That would be a huge improvement. I hope it is not looking at the time. Meanwhile, Liveraghi lost another place because Youths went in 2nd in the Ginetta in GT4. Tight on the curb, but just lost the rear there a tiny bit. That may have been a 10th lost. But he's still... Oh, that's another loss of time. But he gets 2nd place anyway. 142 compared to 152. So Pagliai 10 seconds behind Max. And Pobedinski gets thrown into 4th place. With Wagner in 5th now. Now we are just waiting for undercar to arrive. And that is Fabio Moreira in slow motion racing. There is also the 118 currently in last place. No, it's 16th in class. Remember that the number 1 at the start of the number plate means GT3, the number 4 means GT4. You can see also in GT4 there is a good popularity of Mercedes, and there is one Ginetta in 2nd place that is quite the outlier. Literally everybody else on a Mercedes. As Moreira goes across the line to stay in 26th place. As we will then go on the grid. Welcome Denishan. No, Denishan. Let's go Brazil. And I hope they will have a good race. And go slow motion racing from TH Leonels. So we have a couple of... Okay. We have a couple of fans of certain teams on the grid, as Brenham is at the very start of the grid. Let me go into drive, into OBS, and theoretically this should be on. So the grid puts Oysen Brenham in 1st place with Mattia Mex alongside in the Honda NSX with Alfa Racing Team. Tommaso Pagliai will start in 3rd with Mattia Calendini alongside him for M Reparto Coaching. Arseny Pobedinski in the BMW for WePlay, the 104, will start in 4th place. Manuel Wagner in 5th place. He will race with Sasha Glatter in the Firefly Racing Bentley. Dimitri Panarin, McLaren 110 for WePlay, will start in 6th, literally behind, physically behind rather, his teammate Silvio Hall in 7th place, and Stefan Vivozar with Vrain Freitag for Pit Speed Racing in a Porsche 911 992. Anatoly Kritin in BMW Team 32, the car 109 will start in 9th place, completing your top 10. Milan keys for Drive-Thru Sim Racing. The Hungarian will start at the very tail end of the top 10. Kevin Maniram, 11th place for Close Quarter Racing, with David Skildland completing the lineup. Loris Wiggle for Pixel Pilots in the Nissan Nismo GTR. Mix Vatko for Saiter Motorsport. The Lexus will start in 13th place. Sergio Dekov and Daniel Castellana for CR Sim Racing will start from 14th. 15th place for HC Racing Team with Babus on the wheel. Veri Ibrahima and Andre Robinson for Fusion Racing Team will start in 16th place, 17th place for Remy Caves and Flo Vlandhaas for VMV Team. Andrea Miatto, the Italian for Tatum Restek, will start from 18th on the grid. Then we've got the leader in GT4, Dynamic MS Youngsters with a 210.8. It's important to say this because Matthew Hughes is in second place with a 211.8, 1 second behind. Then Christian Brothers for Calitz Racing Team will start from 3rd in class, with Francesco Livraghi in 4th for E1 Sim Sport. 5th place for Mark Offerman in the 403 for Ferrari Racing. 6th place then Florian Wilmer in the other Calitz Racing Team Mercedes AMG. Ricardo Morgan and Tega Lunels for Slow Motion Racing, and Alexander França, Fabio Moreira for the other Slow Motion Racing in 26th place. 27th place overall, that's Javi Garcia for Moonblack Team, and the last in 28th will be Andreas Seifert for Beetlejuice Racing. As the Rowe Racing, or rather West Competition Racing, apologies, Force of Habit, BMW goes on to give us a good track preview. Turn 1, that's Hull corner, 90 degrees corner, left-hander, and you have to be aware of the gravel on the outside. As I said earlier, starting from the outside here is extremely dangerous because you can get sent into the gravel quite easily. The turn 1 is slightly banked, and so many try to get the best out of it, and sometimes it means that someone outbrakes their own car, using others as a sort of wall to keep themselves on the road. Second corner, that's Quarry, another banked corner, this time it's a right-hander, and then the cutting, turn 3 and 4, this is a great overtaking spot, because you can do it on the outside. It's actually not that difficult, because the next corner, which is turn 5, is a right-hander, so going on the outside there, if you can remain on the outside long enough, you get 5 and 6 Griffin's Mount on the inside, and you get the place done quite easily. Reed Park here, turn 7, which is this one. Let's then go into Frog Hollow, turn 8, then a little dune to get into. Apparently that's McPhillamy Park. I just jumped a corner because for some reason Reed Park is a corner, but it's not really a corner. Anyway, then downhill into Skyline, and then the S's from 11 to 17. You have to go right, then left, then right, then left, then right, then left, then right, and then left into the Dipper. That's a hairpin at the very tail end of this section. The 401 is into the pits. No, it's not anymore. Maybe it was a glitch in my control. And then Forest Elbow, turn 19. This one is a little kink on the left. To then get into the Conroe Straight. Course side which just precedes the Chase, which is not the NASCAR championship from the 2010s, but it is the triplets of corners, or at the turns, because only one of them is really a corner, being 221. You reach speeds up to 280 km/h here, and usually you tend to have a low downforce setup because you really want the best speed possible from here, because this is one of the few places where you can overtake. there aren't really many spots to make a pass, and one of them is this one here, turn 20. The other one is turn 23, and I think turn 1 could be classified as one of those overtaking spots, but turn 2 is definitely another one of them. And then there is the technical zone. Extremely important will be the traffic management from these drivers, because if you arrive the wrong time behind the GT4, you lose a massive chunk of time from whoever is behind you. But here we are for the start of the 3 hours of Bathurst for the ACC Drive Endurance Championship, with Oyster Brenham leading into turn 1, and that's green light, and away we go with Brenham still leading. Second place for Mattia Max, who remains behind. That's the Italian also in third, with Pobedinski that is trying to keep the outside line, and actually he managed to do so, and he's gaining a lot of time on the straight. You can see side drafting the Aston Martin, who is trying to get the slipstream from the Honda in front, with the Bentley behind it, was maybe thinking about doing some bump drafting. The BMW remains then in 4th place, just behind the Italian driver in the 106 Aston Martin. Wodinski now has also to look behind him, because look at that Bentley, it's extremely close, but now they are with cold tires, so they have to be safe. There aren't yellow flags at the moment, so everybody made it safely, at least so far. As we go into the left-hander here, and then into the S's, from Skyline to the Deeper, with Alseny Budinski still in 4th. Brendan already created a 2.5 seconds of gap between himself and Mattia Max in the 102 Honda. And speaking of Honda, I really think the Aston could have a chance here in for second place. The car is still in 3rd, but look at this, getting closer and closer. And closer and closer and closer, and alongside, no, there clearly was a fault. Oh, that's a lot of rubber that has been wasted there. Oh, that's contact between Babus and Swatko for position, with Babus taking the position out of the Lexus. So yeah, the train here already forming. Meanwhile, Silver Hall, that was... no, he didn't switch positions, he was already in front of the 107. And in GT4, it is slightly difficult, because you can see... It's slightly different, because you can see that here, Livraghi goes for second place in front of... Oh, both cars into the gravel! That's Matthews in first, Brothers that is now in second. Overman in 3rd, and that's Polyakov now in 5th place. A disaster of a start for the leader in GT4, the former leader in GT4, as Livraghi gives back the place to, I think, Polyakov, as also Morgan took the chance to make the pass in front of the Italian, who retakes the place in front of the Brazilian lineup. And that's now Livraghi back in 23rd overall, with Morgan in 24th and Wilmer in 25th. So I wonder if it was a massive... I think there was contact into turn 1, that's pretty sure. I didn't see if there was contact between Livraghi and Polyakov in the 401. The 407 was also involved. The 407 is Florian Wilmer, so I don't think he was involved at all there. Spagliai here. Target on the back of the Honda. She's getting now alongside. Now once more he thinks about it, but he doesn't really commit to the action. Possibly thinking that a bit too risky. And so he remains for now in Formula. Kevin Maniram managed to take the position out of Silver Hole. and here no change of position, so again it's just a graphical glitch, that one there. Polyakov, on the other hand, actually took the position out of Hofferman in GT4 class. And that's Pobedinski defending himself against the Bentley. There doesn't seem to be any contact between the two, so Pobedinski remains in 4th with a clean car. Although Wagner is extremely close. Not only that, but Wagner actually is, as it stands, the fastest car on circuit so far. 201.5 for Wagner, with the leader, Brennan, 201.6. And then the Bentley lost a bit of time on the BMW as he tries to himself the attack on the Aston on the hairpin. That was a bit of an optimistic move, considering Pagliai was closing the door quite early. Nearly contact between the two, as Pagliai is once more on the very same script as earlier. Over the curb, but this time he commits to it. No, never mind, once more. Can't really outbrake the Honda. Can't really do it. As Bavus and Miatto are battling for position here, with the Mustang and the MG side by side into the last corner. That's now the 117 that lost a place on Miatto. That was for 15th place overall. There's also Polyakov trying to take back what he lost early on. I think it was altogether that was a mistake for Polyakov and the Mercedes, which I don't know. It was meanwhile Minaram made the pass in front of O'Wiggle for position into turn 2. So there are 2 trains at the moment in the top 10. There's the one for 2nd place and there is the one for 8th place. The one for 8th place actually goes on until 16th, pretty much. Oh, into the wall! Heavily into the wall for the Lexus. That's a lot of damage. That's certainly a lot of damage. For the Lexus, meanwhile, there was this one here. There was the overtake between Brothers and Polyakov, with Polyakov that managed to take back the position into turn 2. And so Polyakov is now in 2nd place in class. As also there is Kritin and Leshkov battling here for 12th place, with a BMW that nearly lost the rear end of the car, but didn't manage to make the pass. Actually, he lost the position on Caves and Miatto by going very wide into turn 20. So apparently something heavy happened between Pagliai and Pobedinski, because now Wagner is in 3rd. So obviously, second to go for a replay, something major has to happen as Pagliai gets back into 4th place. And we'll see what happened shortly, because there is, luckily, a replay available, as Kevin Maniram is also very keen on making a move. This is the Lexus that made heavy contact early on. This is what happened between the ones... Oh, I it was again into the hairpin. Early on there was a near miss between these two. Pobedinski this time tried to do the same, but obviously it didn't work once and it couldn't work twice. That's how Pagliai and Pobedinski lost the place on Wagner. And I suspect penalties will be applied to the 104. There was a dive bomb into the hairpin. It was a risky move early on. A second time, it had consequences. Meanwhile, Kevin Maniram here into turn 20 makes the move into H place. Asmiato did the same on Kabesh. Remy Kabesh here in 14th. As Manuel Wagner in the Bentley 0.7, and he is actually gaining on Brennan. So Brennan has had rather a great pace qualifying, but it's not really there. Wagner has a better pace, it seems, because okay, maybe it's the slipstream that is helping him, but he's not really losing. Rather, he's gaining. This time he gained 2 temps on Brennan. Obviously, if he will ever make it into second place, rather, that's the moment that I'm interested into, because that's a possible switch that could let us see whether Wagner has more pace than Brendan or not. For now he is behind the Honda, so this means that he gets slowed down into this section here, into the uphill section, the downhill too, to be fair, but in the straight line he gets a good speed boost. Ramiato behind Sasha Deshkov, making the move instantly on the Ferrari driver. And also Manuel Wagner pretty glued to Max rear end. So last time around it was at 0.8 for Brennan, 1.1 for Max and Wagner, a 1.3 for Pagliai, a 1.5 for Pobedinski, 1.4 for Panarin, 1.7 for Freytag, then Mariam 1.9. We then get into the 202s. BD4, Polyakov is only a second point 2 behind the youths. So, oh, nearly into the wall! Over the marbles. That was nearly, it was extremely close. Let's have a replay of what just happened. It was very, very close between the two. Yeah, it was really close between the two. Then it was very close between himself and the wall for Manuel Wagner. So you can see he was attempting an overtake. Then he just went into the marbles and into the wall. As they start to... Ooh, nearly contact there between Wagner and the KTM GT4. Where did he come from? What it was? Ah, that was Anders Siffert. I forgot that he was in a KTM. One of the few non-AMGs in the GT4 field. As Andrea Miatto made another overtake, this time on Silver Hall. 11th place for the Tatum Racetech car that started from last place practically in GT3, in 18th place. So possibly this is a bit of practice to get from last to first. So Wilinski's pace is good. It is still good. Although I think the car is slightly damaged. Okay, not sure what happened there. I will not ask any question. And Matthew Yates made contact with Polyakov and also lost the place in the GT4 field. And this is the reason for it. So there was contact between the two, and there was an overtake between the two. So was it into the hairpin? It was... okay, that was not expected. And now the 117 into the wall. 117, that's Mavus Bavus for HC Racing Team into the wall. Oh boy, first one of the incidents in the hill. So there was a beam out of... oh, that's just the rear slipping off completely and hitting then the wall with the left side of the race car. As Milan Keys and Loris Wiggle are switching positions. Milan Keys keeping the inside line on Loris Wiggle, and that's also Andrea Miatto very close into making a move on both of them, but it apparently doesn't appear a possibility as of now. They are still side by side. It's a very clean racing between the Director of Sim Racing Ferrari and the Nismo GTR from Pixel Pilots, and this battle put Miatto in a very optimal position because he makes one pass. I thought he was going for two, just went for one, but also Wagner and Max switched positions there. An impossible place. Where, how did it happen? He made it while into turn 3. So let's have a look. So the Honda braked into the hairpin. The Bentley slipped into the inside line. It was a very nice move. It was a very nice move for Wagner. Taking the position on Max into turn 5. Just after the cutting into the right-hander. So no, wait, that was turn 6, apologies, Griffin's mount. So a very nice move. He took the possibility when it arrived. But also, that was a GT4 going into the grass. As Andrea Miatto also made another move, this time on Loris Wiggle in the okay, I can't speak anymore. In the Mustang GT3. I was about to say GTD, apologies. As the BMW again putting a lot of pressure on Pagliai, who this time goes into the gravel. Oh wait, there was contact. There was contact between Pagliai and Pobedinski because also Panarin also getting the move done. So I can see there was contact between Pagliai and Pobedinski. And now Pagliai is in 6th place. Panarin made it in 5th, just behind his teammate. Sprinter was going extremely slow for some reasons. I mean, I think I know. I think I saw the reasons. That was a GT4 the worst possible place. And a lot of cars are also going very slow. All of a sudden, oh, the 407 is into the gravel. The Lexus passes through and cuts a tiny bit the chicane. The 103 is going to struggle with traffic very likely as he tries to get past the AMG GT4 on Dipper. And by doing so, he lost a lot of time on the GTR behind. There is a vehicle now very, very close to the Mustang. Possibly he wants the position back. Well, Mustang is a beast on straights and you can do very little in that regard. Also, I want to see back the incident between the 106 from the helicam though. So this is the action into turn 1. The BMW already tried into turn 1. BMW tried to put the... Oh, there was contact. Apologies, it wasn't between the BMW and the Aston. It was actually between the AMG GT4 and the Italian driver in the Aston Martin. Because I saw a contact. But from the camera, I thought it was between the BMW and the Aston, and it wasn't. Pagani now just passing through a good chunk of GT4 cars. That's Max going on the outside, a very risky move into one of the blue flagged cars, and Pobudinski has to stick behind or aim for something dangerous. Oh, he tried and succeeded into making the move. And Panarin lost a second and a half to his teammate, leaving himself without tow in the fastest place of the racetrack, and that's also Tommaso Pagliai getting back at least one place. That's 5th place now for Tommaso Pagliai into the inside line. Pretty physical at the moment. He takes the position, but it's not over yet. I suppose we could see Panarin try the inside line. It didn't, because the 106 was clever into cutting the lifeline for Panarin. So he has to stay behind. As Pagliai goes in 5th, and this is also Freytag, very, very close to the McLaren. Not only close, but actually nearly alongside him. He is possibly going to use the slipstream as much as possible from his 7th place to get into 6th, but also Panarin had a good slipstream in front. That's Tommaso Pagliai in 5th. And 111 remains behind. Not sure for how long. Oh, that's a bit of wall being scraped off the inside line to the cutting. Oh, that was very close for 111. That catch some dirty air and nearly hit the wall. Meanwhile, here you can see Wydinski that this time doesn't commit for dangerous overtake and has to remain behind what I think it is Christian Brothers. And that was Brothers GT4. And Pobudinski lost 1.2 seconds from Max. He was practically glued to him, and now he's not anymore, and this is really helping Pagliai. now the leader has clean air. Wagner still has to make one move into Polyakov. As the Ginetta is just now going across the line. Same goes for Mattia Mexev, Arseny Pobedinsky and Tommaso Pagliai, with Panarin and Freytag following. Just behind, Milan Keys, Silverall, and Anatoly Kritin also trying to take advantage of the slower class. So reminder that next week 6 hours of racing for us all. So I expect a good lot of racing. Now we will stay here for a single lap with Dimitri Panarin. As the BMW defends heavily against Pagliai. I'll be honest, I just had to take a bottle of water. I was out of it. I can't really hide myself there. And Pagliai now in 5th. Last lap it was a 0.3.1 for Pagliai, 0.3.7 for Pobedinsky. And Max in front, 0.2.9. So this chunk of cars is still having a good time. Going to... Okay, here no pass can effectively happen. Oh! Pagliai into the wall! He lost the rear. Again! No, maybe not. Just... I think he just narrowly missed the wall once more. Now both cars they were both stuck behind the KTM and nearly making contact with it too. In Freytag, also in 7th, trying the outside line on the McLaren of Dimitri Panarin, but he cannot make the move there on the outside. It's pretty difficult. As Panarin remains in 6th. So at the moment there are two important battles here. The battle for effectively third and the one for 6th place. Wagner is going slow. Possibly trip into the gravel for Wagner. Spolyakov also struggling a tiny bit. That's 401 in a pack of cars that were passing through. That's the Lexus in 14th and Svatko in 15th, I think. Apologies, that's 15th, makes Svatko and the Remy Cabes behind. Spaghetti is still not over with it, still behind Pobedinski. So the battle for fourth still goes on, but this time 1.5 for both of them. Panalin 1.6, Max also 1.6. And Wagner still has the fastest lap time. Oh, that's good. Just in the middle, there was more contact between Pagliai and Florian Wilmer in the CRT. The 115 is off into the wall. I think the car was into the wall at least. So yeah, braking on the grass and also hitting the tire barrier on the outside of turn 2. Silver all at the moment in the Bentley, just behind Milan Kiss. Now we are possibly going to see a couple of cars overtaking in the pits. Because the stint timer is about to reach the 48 minutes and many could go in for an undercut, since nobody chose this route yet. The 409 also, yellow flag showing. So that's a KTM. As we go back here for all and Kiss, one after the other into turn 3. Oh! That's Kiss into the wall! Sliding quickly out of camera. So I honestly don't know how hard a fight that was, but Kiss was definitely into the wall in the car number 105. So I try to take what just happened for a replay. So this is Kiss going through turn 2. Going from the left-hander. Oh, he didn't break in time. He went into the marbles, well, over the marbles, apologies, and straight into the wall. Also lost the position on the Bentley. It's now in front of him. That's a silver roll, 11th place. And Kritin could make the pass for position. Not also very close to Kevin Maniram. That would be for 8th place for the Tatum Restec Mustang. So yeah, now Kritin very, very close to the Ferrari up front. So Kiss's last lap obviously was quite slow. I don't know how much damage it sustained. This could be up to 10 seconds of damage. And they have to go into the pits now, because there isn't time left on the steam timer. So they will all go into the pits. Meanwhile, yellow flag showing for Remy Kabesh. This seems to be on track. So Brandon, I think something happened. Why isn't the steam timer active? So yeah, for some reasons, the steam timer isn't active. Although, as always, there should be the steam timer. So this changes things up. I wonder if it was a mistake from the granite, because that's definitely, the stint is definitely missing. So yeah, change of plans, I guess. There isn't a stint time anymore. Miato is now very close to Freytag. Oh, they pushed it into the wall! And Miato managed to take the position easily out of Freytag's Porsche. The triple one went into the wall while going downhill. And also, the damage the car sustained possibly was enough to ruin the top speed. And Freytag also lost a position on Maniram. So 8th place lost for Pit Speed Racing. Svatko also trying to make a pass on Dashkov. That will be for 14th place. And as I mentioned it, Svatko goes over the inside. No contact between the two, but it was very close. And Svatko still is in 15th. Lexus maybe just has the narrow edge to get a better top speed. But the Ferrari is into the inside. And the Ferrari, matter of fact, remains where it is in 14th place. As we go back in front, because you can see Podolinsky and Max practically glue it together in 3rd and 4th. As again, Podolinsky was trying the very same move from early on. Last lap for Podolinsky was a 01.2, 01.8 for Max, and 01.5 for Pagliai behind. As Svatko goes back on the offensive and takes the position on Dashkov. So Svatko now in 14th place. Oh, little contact. Oh, both cars losing time there, with Lexus losing the rear end and Dashkov nearly losing the car altogether by going into the grass. This was also what happened to the Porsche early on, that swing Freytag. They lost the rear and hit massively the barriers on the right side of the car. With Max, that oh, that was a heavy hit, I think, between Podolinsky and the KTM. It was just out of the screen, but I think there was a contact between 104 and the KTM, so there wasn't contact actually. It was just very, very narrow, but there wasn't contact apparently between the two. And Tommaso Pagliai now is back in business because he is just behind both Max and Podolinsky. As this will be for 3rd overall, with Brandon that already took a plane and arrived in Sydney by his rhythm. Wagner follows behind, but just figuratively follows behind, since he is a good chunk of seconds behind, as Dashkov took back the position on Svatko. That possibly the Lexus will try again. That was a lot of rear end, slippery rear end for the Lexus. Podolinsky and Max following one another. Pagliai is extremely aggressive at the moment, rightfully so. Oh, into the grass. And I have to apologize because early on I said there wasn't a stint time, there is a stint time, it's just that I mistakenly, for some reasons, early on I read 12 instead of 22. The stint time is 48 minutes. Not sure, possibly it's just because I'm really tired. So my brain is not working 100%, but in 3 minutes time we will see the pit stops. Matter of fact, Youth is already in. Same goes for Brothers. And same goes for Pagliai, who chose the undercut for his next action, braking just before the line. As Kritin and Kiss very close with one another, but Kritin chose the very same strategy. Into the pits he goes. Braking just in time. And Svatko does the same. As he enters the pits. And these three were the only GT3s that entered the pits. In GT4, only Brothers, Youths and Learners decided to go into the pits early. It was a 2 seconds of Robinson also into the pits. And that may have been a very good idea for those drivers. But I suppose we could see a jump from the pits. So now everybody will have to pit because the scene timer this time is over. 48 minutes, not 38, 48 minutes. So again, apologies for early on. As Brennan, Wagner, Max, Pobulinski, Panarin, Miatto, Maniram and everybody else put the left blinker on and threw the car into the pits. Mattia Callendini now driving the 106 MR Report coaching, and this move could have been the move for second place for the Italian lineup. In the pits, there weren't repairs ongoing for anybody, apart from Swatko, 5 seconds. And interesting, Milan Kiss just went through. Drive through only for Milan Kiss. Brennum, he actually repaired the car apparently. 10 seconds in the pits, more than everybody else. Wagner still in second. Well, third, apologies, in third place. And Mattia Max is now behind himself. No, apologies. Okay. Between Calendini and now Glatter. There is Mattia Max. Glatter for Firefly Racing, the Bentley in third. Which is also very, very close to Brennan. That was stationary for 10 more seconds. Wonder where damage have been picked up from Brennan. But he is just now just a second in front of now Glatter for the Firefly Racing Bentley. As Maniram, He's using a bit of a shortcut. Huh? He's battling with a wiggle. As the Lexus tries to pass on a wiggle on the inside line. So very, very close between the two. Nearly contact into the left-hander. Nismo GT3, Nismo GTR GT3 remains in 9th place, still 16 seconds behind Miato. As Pobedinski is now behind his teammate into turn 2. I thought a pass could happen considering that Pobedinski and Panarin are teammates, but apparently McLaren wants to stay ahead. And this is just helping Miato behind. So now these two went downhill. No changes as it seems. As Maniram alongside. Oh, going into the gravel and then into the wall, and that's Maniram heavily damaging the car. And again into the wall. Yeah, I think the suspension is gone. There is a good chance there is suspension damage for the Lexus. As Miato also, yellow flag for him. Oh, something happened here. Something huge happened because Panarin lost 2 places. Now 1 because Miato lost a place that he gained on Panarin. So something more seemed to have happened between among these 3. 110. So was it an incident with a back marker, or was it among themselves? So Panarin here in McLaren goes on the inside. Mercedes closing the door very, very early, and then McLaren spun in the middle of the way. So also rear end damage for the McLaren. And then the Mustang just had to take a passive action. Meanwhile, Brenum is only behind Milan Keys, who, remember, went in and went out because he didn't stop. He went for a drive-through only. As Panarin again into the wall. Maybe that was into the wall, maybe it was into the gravel only. But Panarin's rear end damage probably ruining the drivability of the McLaren, as the BMW number 101 goes into the inside line and takes the position. That's the lead of the race for Christian Brennan. With Sasha Glatter on the balcony, trying to make the same move on the very same Ferrari. "11 seconds behind, Mattia Mex and Mattia Calendini are also battling for 4th. As the Honda is now in 4th place, just in front of the Italian team. As the Sasha Gatter making the move, or maybe getting some help in there. And Mattia Mex created a tiny bit of gap. As Panalin is now into the pits, Panalin who also had a yellow flag early on. This was the reason for the yellow flag. Oh yeah, the rear is not there. It's in the wall once. Losing the rear. Gravel, gravel, another wall. So that was possibly also suspension damage for that car, and that's possibly the run over for a top 5 for Panalin. Silver roll also in the pizza. The 116 didn't have any issue. So very odd that the 116 is back in the pizza. The reason for it. This car is not even moving anymore, so this could actually be something more than an issue with the car. It could be. I can hear the car moving. So something happened to Silverall, but I'm not sure what happened. Because there aren't yellow flags nor incidents that have been deemed to the Bentley. So I'm quite confused in that regard. As Lexus goes and takes the position out of Castellana's Ferrari. And that's make Dasco now in 12th place. In front of the 113 Ferrari for CR Sim Racing. Budinski now behind the Calendini. And again, the 106 lost a lot of time, but there are yellow flags. So possibly that was a back marker in the way. Because there are yellow flags showing. So I suppose Calendini's lap time early on was ruined because it was 2:03.0, 2 seconds slower than Max. As Calendini hit the wall somewhere, but I don't see any damage on the car. So up front, last lap for Brennan was a 0.970, but apparently it was not a valid one, and Glatter is actually still the fastest lap holder with a 0.1.0. So the 108 can still compete for this. Brennan is actually not as slow. Maybe a slight mistake. clean air in front of Calendini. The next GT4 is quite ahead. This is a 409. It's now approaching the chase. So yeah, last lap it was at 0.3.0 for Calendini, 0.2.9 for Max. Now over the finish line it was 0.1.6 for Max, 0.1.4 for Calendini and 0.1.6 for Povedinski, and the Miatto, fastest car of the race, with 0.7. As Podinski tries an overtake on the hairpin into turn 4. As I was looking at the times, so an entire second gained by Miatto over Podinski, and half a second, actually 6 times gained on Brennan, leading the race. So could hear quite not heavy brakes. Meanwhile, Ferrari goes through an impossible spot in front of Castellano. Apologies, Castellano goes in front of Swasco in an impossible spot. And this was the overtake from early on. So you can see the Lexus behind the Dynamic MS Youngstars. Oh, that's why he got slowed down and he couldn't pass since there was another GT4 in the middle. And Panarin, again, more troubles for the 110. Because he was behind a BMW. So he went for an impossible move, made contact with I think it was the 115 BMW, and that was also a crash. Meanwhile, the 404 Javi Garcia gets the overtake done in front of Tega Lionels, and the silver roll, yellow flag showing for this car 2 times actually. So this was the first time. Car behind, it's actually lapped, but behind the Honda. I just went to a stop to let them pass, okay. I thought it was something more. Now Povedinski just behind Calendini. So 0.1.6 in the last lap for all 3 of them. That all 3 of them also managed to gain a 10th on Max. So still 2 hours to go. Swatko, yellow flags and contact, so possibly that car is off track. We will see what happened just after the action now. So yeah, Pobedinski remains behind the Aston, doesn't commit for a move, although I don't think Pobedinski wants it to be done here. He will try the overtake here. Honestly, I thought he would have tried it as compared to early on. Ibrahim also spinning in the upper part of the mountain. As Pobedinski follows. So this could become quite the battle for 5th place overall. Taken in the 106 and Anthony Pobedinski in the 104. But for now, nothing happens. And the two are still one behind the other. They have been like this for several laps at this point. So the Honda laps a McLaren. So McLaren that early on spun at the top of the mountain. As this is what happened early on to the 114. Going over the grass. Then going maybe too quick. Oh, there was a car in the middle. There was a car in the middle. That was a GT4 in the middle, actually. It was the 404. Having troubles. Oh, it was actually a contact with the Ferrari. It was actually a contact with the Ferrari. And then there was the 118 getting involved in an incident. I wonder if it was because of the Bentley or if it was on themselves. Yeah, definitely on themselves, nearly taking out the Bentley with them. As it is the 5th pole position now, Calendino on the inside, Pobedinski now is trying on the inside line on the left-hander. And that's Calendino losing the place. The Bimbu number 104 on the Conrad Straight. And Miato just behind, looking at the situation up front. You can see the Aston on the outside that was trying a very difficult move, as in trying to get the cut back, but he couldn't. He remains on the slipstream. Can the Aston take the outside line and take the position back? That will be for 4th, as Milan Keys went into the pits. The 104 going extremely slow and sitting on the apex, putting a chair practically in a finishing road, just waiting for the bait to work. And I think it worked, because it went extremely slow into the inside line, and now Miato is very, very close to Calendini. Oh, that's Aston into the grass, dirty tires. luckily nothing happened to the MR part of coaching. Aldo Calendini lost an entire second and a half to Providinsky. Now side by side between these two, the Mustang has a lot more top speed. And so pass gets done with Calendini's pace practically falling off. In GT4 the situation is still the same from early. Oh, Swatko into the gravel. So once more the Lexus, protagonist of something. So it was a yellow flag, no contact. Another car over the hill, just out of line, over the gravel, and somehow not into the wall. As Hopperman also made contact this time with Maniram, as the 115 is also showing yellow flags. Everything is happening at once. So this happened. So actually it's two different, I think it's two different incidents. No, okay, no, it's the same. Because the MG GT4 is just there sitting on last corner. Was there? Oh, yeah, there was nearly a pit maneuver. And then the 115 was also involved in some incident. Wall. Yeah, that's the car not turning. And that's a suspension done. Yeah, that's suspension done. So I suppose there will be some... Oh, that's a lot of closeness between these cars. Actually, among, because Kritin is just behind. But you can't really make a pass in that zone. As Kritin is 4 times behind the Lexus, so they were literally 40 centimeters gapped from each other early on, and now there are just some meters. Meanwhile, here you can see there is another battle. This is for 4th place. Andrea Miatto and Arseny Povidinsky in 4th place. This car was starting from last in class and going for the usual challenge, last first. As we are nearly halfway there. As Brennan, unfortunately, encountered the GT4 just in one of the most technical parts, so it has lost some time. Unfortunately, some bad luck for the Aston, as he was just passing through, but couldn't. And Kevin Mayram only 2 times behind the Lexus for close quarter racing with the Nissan only, I think, 1 or 2 meters ahead. There's a yellow flag. It's a 409. It's a lot of damage for the 409, maybe, or is it just I think they're just letting the others pass by. Now Maniram is very close. He's very close. He's on the outside, but can't really make a move, and this is just helping Kritin because look at him now. He was 1 second behind early on. Now he is only 2 times behind. But Nissan is really using the track. In a perfect way. Defending where he has to defend and staying on the line where the rhythm allows. And now Kritin is very close to Myram. So now the yellow flag. Oh, that's a car! That's a car into the wall. That was Flo Van Haas. We see the 115. Oh, that's Glatter with yellow flags. Oh, Glatter is off. This is a huge one. Glatter off the race with immense damage to the rear and to the front of the car. Something huge happened here to the 108. Meanwhile, we'll still see what happens here because everything is happening at once. So we've lost our second place holder. So this means that TMX is now in second. Now still there is the Lexus here that is about to make the move on the Nismo GTR. That is now happening here. Kevin Maniram now taking the position. That's 7th place for Kevin Maniram. Then Andrea Miatto also in a good battle. He's only 4 times behind Wobydinski. But I'd like to see if this battle is over. So the Lexus defends the inside line, put the car in the middle. So this is 6th place for Maniram. Up in front, Andrea Miatto still behind Wobydinski, but what happened to the 115 early on? As the little GT4 went a bit out on the gravel. So this is what happened. This will be a long chain of replays. So we are on board. Oh, that's, yeah, it's a huge hit into the wall. It was also so this was then the 108. Oh no, I think I know what happened. Yeah, you can see the rear end. It was already damaged. And Glatter then lost the rear altogether. So this is a consequence of what happened early on. So I'd like to see this from a replay camera. This time from Glatter's point of view. So you can see here when the Bentley passed. Oh, that's, yeah, that's why the Bentley was off. The Bentley was already damaged. So the two incidents were consequence of, Well, they were correlated. Unfortunately, the Bentley had the worst there, and that will surely put the car off. Yeah, they are in such a case is now in 14th place. Disaster for that team. As Milan keys now with yellow flags showing. So the 105 also involved in some kind of incident. So was this... Oh, it was... It was a GT4 that was in the middle of the way. And so luckily the yellow flag wasn't for contact, because it was for a slowed down vehicle, which was a Ferrari. Such a clutter. I saw the car. Yep, that's clutter again into the wall. That's another mistake for Glatter at this point. I think it is out of pure anger for the 108. Rightfully so, this car was battling for the win. Now they are battling for whatever remains. Oh, yep. I don't think there is a rear end anymore. Andrea Miatto is going into the inside line of Arseny Pobedinsky, keeping the car there and making the pass for the podium position now. As Glatter is back into the pits after a 2-minute damage repair. He's back in the pits, so possibly that's the DNF for that team. Maybe just changing driver. Possibly Glatter is so furious that at this point he doesn't even want to sit in the car, which would... I don't blame him, like... We're battling for the win and bad luck struck them. As a matter of fact, they are not in the race anymore. So DNF for Firefly Esports. That was the team that was battling for the lead of the race. And also Brandon at this point has a 20 seconds lead on Mattia Max. Well, last time around for Brandon was at 0.1. Realistically, Brandon at this point will just, I won't say coast, but certainly will not push 100% the car, considering his lead. Now Polinski may be able to clinch some time up, considering that Miato up front could give him the slipstream, and that this guy is very good in the turning phase. So I will rule out the podium for Polinski. I'm going slow, but looking at the minimap, this should be a blue flag moment. Just following. Oh, that's the tires locking. It's not really helping Wodinski's pace. Matter of fact, he is now more than 7 times off, so the slipstream is lost there. Up rises to 1 second, so I think Andrea Miato could actually be in P2 proximity. Last lap for Miato was 0.9, so an entire second quicker than Brenum, and half a second quicker than Max. So possibly Brenum is having some struggles with some back markers. So Wiggle is also very, very close to his rival with Kevin Maniram. That has been battling with him practically since the very start of the stint. 1.9 for Wiggle last lap, 2.1 was Maniram's last lap. So as it stands, there is a 21 seconds lead for Brennan. But Miato is still rapid. He just gained 1 second on Max, 0 on the leader. As Canandini goes into the pits for a very early stop, just in the midway point. So a different strategy for this team, as they will go completely off sync because of this. And so Miato is now third. Oh, that was a car into the wall. That was Polinski into the wall. And that's also Swatco with yellow flags. Going, but I think that was a wide moment for that car. Okay, this pass happened here even before the chase. Sandra Miatto goes alongside. The Honda tries to take the better line, but he goes into the grass, cuts in front of the Mustang, takes back the inside line, but brakes earlier to have possibly the inside line covered, so he does so. Yeah, he definitely did that in order to defend the inside line and to avoid Miatto the chance to go for the cutback. But the Mustang is quick into the straights. 103 still can't really make it up into the corners. Actually, Max is pretty good at defending this. He is defending quite well the lines, taking the opportunity to basically stay ahead simply because he placed the car in a better way. So now Miatto is in a bit of a sandwich because Pobedinski is back behind him and Max is just in front, and both cars are actually better in the cornering phase than Miatto is. But unfortunately you make the overtakes on the straight. As the Honda again defends the inside line, but Miatto thinks about it. Oh, the Honda makes a mistake, and that's Max into the grass. That's Max into the grass, and that's Max behind Pobedinski too. So this is now Miatto in second place. As Jolsen brothers are also into the pits. So maybe even for them a different tactic. So Wiggle is 2 into the pits. Remember, 48 minutes. Oh, that's Cutin also into the pits. 48 minutes stint time. So theoretically, you should pit around well, in 10-ish minutes, to be fair. So many are actually pitting early because we are at the midway point, and so you can go for a pretty different strategy. Maybe you can go for fuel only if you can stretch the stint enough, but they are possibly going for the usual tactic of just going for free stops. I'm pretty interested in what happened to Pagliai. So he was stationary for 20 seconds more. So there clearly was some damage. 20 seconds in the pit stationary practically. So yeah, definitely some damage for this car here. So that's why the pace wasn't there. I suppose side, or maybe even suspension damage. It's now Miatto. So Brennan into the pits, Miatto is into the pits. as they are now pretty much at the end of the stints, because they pitted at around 47th minute, they came out at around 49th minute, and then now they are back in the pits, but this is about maybe 5 minutes prior to their end of the stint. And so possibly Somad going for the usual tactic, because at this point it doesn't make any sense to lose time out. So Brandon normal pit stop, no damage repair. Blankis is the one with the oddest tactic, because he just went in for a drive-thru. He came out, he went back in, and now he's completely off sync. But if he can work it out, he could actually be on for a good one, because as you can see, Milankis just came out behind Mattia Max, who himself is 3 seconds behind Arseny Providinsky and Andrea Miatto. Spaglia is back in 6th, 25 seconds behind the group up front. So now Brandon is 21 seconds in front of Miatto, who is also in front of Providinsky by 7 times. Max follows 3.3 seconds behind, and he's also in 5th, just behind, but remember he's completely off sync. Pagliai is in practically no man's land, and Wiggle, Kritin and Panarin are following another 7 seconds behind. Quick pause for myself to get some hydration and a couple of minutes of pit stop, let's say, and I will be back at the possibly end of the lap, so in 2/3 minutes. security in here. So I'm back here in business. Just a quick pause because of I need the water. That's it. Security in here in 9th. Scar 109 had a yellow flag moment, and this was the reason for it. It was behind the Nismo GTR, and also, oh, I think he collided. Yeah, he definitely collided with the wall. He definitely collided with the wall and lost the position on his teammate, who is now into the pizza. Because remember, he is also off sync completely. Because of the damage he had. Early on. So now he goes for the overtake on the leader in GT4. And then goes into the gravel. So he will have to do it again. 105 is also a good giant question mark. So I don't really know the real position of this car, since it is completely off the chart for the pit stop phase. Nearly 7:30. On track and also in real life. And Andrea Miato is now again the quickest driver in the race with a 0.5 in the last lap. And he gained 2 temps on Brennan, who is now 19 seconds in front, with Miato that started in 18th. You can go with a little review of everybody, going from the very last 26th place, with Andreas Seifert in 26th at the moment. Javi Garcia is currently in 25th, and into the wall. Florian Wilmer in 24th place at the moment, with Ricardo Morgan behind his teammate Fabio Moreira, battling in GT4. We then got Francesco Di Vraghi in 21st, Mark Offerman in 20th, Christian Burders 19th and 3rd in class, Matthew Hughes 18th and 2nd in class, and leading in GT4 Luis Petzold in the 401 ANG GT4. Remy Cabes 16th and last in GT3, last running. Andre Robinson in 15th. Overall in 14th place as another proper lap arrived. That's 0.4. So also there was an overtake here between teammates. With Ricardo Morgan taking the position out of Fabio Moreira's Mercedes. Missy Paline is in 13th place. 12th place for Mick Swatko, with Daniel Castellana in 11th place. We've then got the top 10 with Sven Freitag and the 111. Oh, it's that's a car off. It's a 115. Not really having a good time Oh, I don't think it was for another car. Yeah, he just lost the rear and crashed heavily into the wall. Just in the service road. In the entry of the service road, and demolished the front end of the car. Christian is in front of David Skurdland for close quarter racing. Then we've got Anatoly Krytin in 8th place. Lorenzo Wiggle follows in 7th. 6th place Tommaso Pagliai at the moment, with Milan Kiss in the top 5 momentarily, with Mattia Mex in 4th, with Arseny Pogodinski in 3rd place. Andrea Miatto is now 16 seconds behind the leader, since the leader lost 2 seconds in the last lap. And speaking of the leader, Oystein Brunum, the top of the chart now, 16 seconds. At the moment I can see Krytin getting possibly closer to Wiggle, because the gap is now 3 seconds or so. The last lap it was a 0.1.7 for Krytin. There was contact just in front. That was Mattia Mex making contact. No, it wasn't. I think it was maybe Wiggle in contact with the leader in GT4. Yes, it was. There was also contact between Mex and someone else, the full 1-0. So this is what happened to the 102. Then there was following. Oh, there was contact. Just a misunderstanding between the two, which led to some contact, front and rear, between two cars. So Anatoly Krytin, as I said earlier, now he is 2.7 seconds behind the Wiggle. So now he's gaining a lot. He gained half a second in this very lap. So we lost another car. I think we lost the GT3 from early on. It's a 104 also. Oh, that's a podium sitter, Arseny Pogodinski, with a car that is completely demolished. That's Mattia Mex passing in further. So what happened to Pogodinski? This is what happened. As we go on board, wonder if it was self. Oh, there was. Oh, yeah. There was a pit maneuver there. So it was nice to see it from the outside. So I will do it. So you can see that White BMW is passing on the outside the McLaren. He's then about to do the same on the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT4 02. took a very wide line and effectively threw Pobedinski out of line completely. And that's another car that gets the day ruined in Bathurst. So another of the hot names. So we lost the Bentley from Firefly Esports in second place. So effectively batting for the lead. And we lost who was in third at the time. So Arseny Pobedinski, the 104. And he now joins his teammate Dimitri Panarin in 13th place as one of the cars damaged and with their race compromised. So only 25 teams remaining in this race. The gap between Brandon and Miato has been getting bigger, because now 17 seconds are separating first and second place. The situation is practically the same in GT4, where Petzold is leading by 28 seconds. Matthew Hughes but the battle for the podium is oh, done. There is no battle for the podium anymore. This was Livraki going into the wall the second I put his car on camera. So what happened there? So he just crashed into the wall on the inside. So he goes right, he goes left. Did he lose the rear? Oh, he made contact with the wall and then demolished the front end of the car. And now Livraki has damage and possibly won't be able to attack Mark Offerman in 4th place. And I think it was Livraki that made contact early on with Pobedinski, who is now in 13th place. As I said earlier, he joins his teammate. I didn't think even physically. I thought only figuratively. Instead, he is literally with his teammate. 17 seconds behind, but he's there. And then Anatoly Kritin managed to get back just behind the wiggle by 1.3 seconds. Last lap it was a 1.9 for Kritin, 2.5 for wiggle. As this is one of the closest battles on track at the moment. Something is about to... Oh! Something huge happened! As I can see two cars colliding. And this was the reason for it. So it was Florian Wilmer. And oh, that's Fabio Moreira going around. So Fabio Moreira, all by himself, the 408. You can see from the onboard camera. I think there was contact actually. As Milan Kiss is now into the pits. Again for a drive-thru, I think. Yes, it was a drive-thru. So he's trying to do something very odd. As in, he's going to keep the car out for as long as possible to get into the 48 minutes stint timer, and then to get effectively on the same page as everybody else. And I think he can do it. I think he can just do it. He can just save enough fuel. And if he does so, he could actually be in 5th. Pretty easily. So this is technically Keith's effective position, 5th place. Considering he started from 10th, it's not really a bad journey so far. So Christian still following O'Wiggle with 60 minutes to go. And the battle for the lead is actually still there. It's less possible than early on. I don't think it's completely ruled out because Brennan started to lap quick. He started to go below the 0-1, and by doing so, he started to, well, I wouldn't say create some gap, because it seems like the gap has been the same, 17 seconds since about the 120 minutes to go marker. Last lap it was a 0.8 for Brennan and 0.9 for Miatto. And so what I think, personally, I do think there is not going to be a battle for the lead unless something major happens, which, to be fair, seems perfectly possible at this point. But certainly Brandon started to go quicker when he noticed that Miatto was about to get close. Not even getting closer, he was about to get close. And so now consistency pays off, and also his huge gap, because those 18 seconds are difficult to be gained in an hour. Well, not even an hour, because now we are into the 59 minutes. And considering a lap here is 2 minutes, this means roughly that there are still 30 laps to go. And so to make back those 18 seconds, he requires nearly a second per lap. Because as it stands, it is 18 and 40. 6 tenths per lap. More or less. So 6 times per lap. And in the last lap he lost a second. So that is not really helping. Obviously back marker giveth, back marker taketh. But I'm not sure how much is there left for Miatto to take. Back So now the gap is 17 seconds once more. It's basically an elastic band. For obvious reasons. The GT4s are helping the creation of this elastic band where you gain, you lose, you gain, you lose. It's the essence of endurance racing. You don't always gain time. Most of the time it's more about the consistency. So last lap for Critin, it was at 2 seconds. 0.1. For Wiggle it was a 1.9, so even for them the gap has practically been the same. And now in the last lap, I think something changed. As in, I think Brandon has been pretty unlucky. Because now, oh, Max. Something happened here. So what happened? He goes over the curb. He just went wide. Okay, that was pretty unfortunate. Let's see if he went. Oh, he definitely went on the gravel and grass, but didn't hit the wall in any way. And we lost him. This is a huge one. This is a big one, as Miato is not in the race anymore. Miato is not in the race anymore. We lost. We effectively lost the battle for the lead. As Miato possibly disconnected. And so this means that Random effectively just has to exist to take the flag. Because every single opponent has either cracked or DNF'd or the SC. Disconnected. Because first the Bentley, then the BMW, and now the Mustang, and it's pretty cool to like that has been extremely aimed. Seems like made on purpose nearly. But now Max is back in second and Pagliai is back in the podium, with Milanki is in fourth, and so Owigol and Critin are effectively battling for fifth, not sixth anymore. As oh, that was the wall for 406. The 109 passes another GT4, and now it's completely different from early on, as Critin is glued to the Nissan, as he unfortunately was stuck behind a GT4 in Skyline. So this will be a completely different lap for Wiggle. I don't think Critin has been compromised in any form. So this should be, well, it has been compromised clearly because Critic's last up was at 0.3.6, but not at 0.4.6, which Owiggle did. So now Brandon effectively has the lead on his own. He's 40 seconds ahead of the closest surviving rival. Because at this point it is an elimination race where every single car that gets into second place gets disconnected from this race, apparently. So if I was Mattia X, I would let Pagliai pass. Just to be safe. Please, you go. I don't want to. I'd like to finish this race. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. And so now Critin only 3 times behind. Skirlant also. It's a bit of a question mark because he hasn't really been in the action for quite some time. His teammate was in the action a lot more, but he's gaining actually. In the last lap he managed to gain 2 seconds on this duo, and if they start battling they may lose more time, and this could bring Skirlant into the fight. But also Milan Kiss is actually going extremely slow in this lap. Just a 2:03.5 for Kiss, who is only 5 seconds in front. And remember, Kiss effectively is on a slightly different strategy, but he is on the same strategy. He's on a different cycle rather, because he will have to pit another time, but everybody else also has to pit another time, because we are getting into the 48 minutes stint, and considering how short this pit lane is, 25 seconds only to get into the pit lane, it is one of the shortest. Kiss is effectively battling for position. He will have to pit in 3 minutes, I guess. So he will be off sync, he will be quicker initially, and then he will be slower. But here, being slower is not necessarily a bad thing. It's better to have track position than to be a chasing car, because you can't really pass. And with dirty air, your tires also gets worse, apologies. Your tires also gets worse, and you obviously have trouble maintaining your line. Whilst in clean air, you get a gradual offset. You get a gradual consumption, and so you tend to have a better I won't say a better time, but rather, oh, that's getting off. Easily lost a half a second. So as I was saying, you tend to get better lifespan on your tires because you don't really reach a cliff in the middle of the stint. You tend to reach a cliff, obviously, because you will reach a cliff eventually, but gradually. And you can adapt yourself to the behavior of the tires, to the way they start to slide, to lose grip, to act differently, instead of having a drop-off where one lap you are X and the other lap you are Y. And the other you are Z. And the fourth one, you are back to X. So you don't really understand your tires, and Swatko made a mistake, as he was showing yellow flags, in the 114 Lexus. Did he outbrake himself? And the answer is yes, he did. He went straight and nearly lost the rear of the car altogether. And now Panarin is just behind him. Although there is some damage to the Lexus, so I suppose something to do with the walls. As he starts to defend. Dimitri Panarin was once battling for effectively the top 5. His teammate was battling for the podium, and now they are in 11th and 12th. Now, Panarin is a completely different class than Swatko. Swatko's last lap was a 6.1. It doesn't count, but the best lap was a 0.2.7. Panarin's last lap was a 0.1.8, and it's half a second slower than his best lap. So clearly, Panarin is just waiting for a moment to pass, and will probably do so at the end of the Coral Straight, where the houses on the Coral Straight are actually on B&B. No, B&B, they are actually there. I saw them. It was quite a nice surprise. They are quite costly, but they are worth it if there is a truck. Oh, there is the Lexus. Oh, yep, that's a pit maneuver. And that's Panarin making the move, I guess, on Swatko. There was contact. I don't think there is any excuse there. There was simply a takedown from the good old burnout days. As the Lexus was keeping some... Oh, Freytag! Oh, Freytag in 8th place. Not really facing the correct way. So what happened here? Is that he went on downhill. Oh, he lost the rear and heavily hit the front. And so that's the car damage. Yeah, you can see the suspension damage is massive. That car has to pit. The only good news is that he will pit inside the 48 minutes. So he will be able to finish the race without pitting another time. The bad news is that there is some damage. The front end is not there anymore. One of the tires is pointing the wrong direction, and TMX was showing himself with yellow flags. So I wonder if it was because the cars in front are lapped cars. Oh, he has been behind them for quite some time. And he hasn't been able to overtake them. But this has been quite tricky for Max. Possibly considering he's 45 seconds behind the leader and another 15 in front of his closest opponent. I don't think he was really pressuring this situation so hard. I just think he wanted to get out of the way as soon as possible. As Sven Freytag is into the pits, and Tommaso Pagliai also into the pits. which is a bit of an odd thing considering Milan Keys is still out. So he is going to have better tires than some drivers that went with a traditional strategy. Because I suspect Kritin and Paglia is trying the undercuts to gain something, whatever that something may be. In Kritin's case, that's actually very little to gain, 1 second, so he can go for this move. In Paglia's case, it's just hope, since there is a 15 seconds gap, and Freytag is now out of the pits, and he was stationary for 30 seconds plus 50 seconds, so he was with 50 seconds of damage, and he is back in 12th place. Skritin here comes out of the pits, just behind Castellani and Ferrari. So maybe the whole tactic is not going to be successful. Now he's stuck into the wall! Cold tires over the marbles with as much aggressiveness as possible, and he now has damage on the left side of the car. And it was just out of the pits. Yeah, I don't think he will be able to overtake Wiggle. I actually think the Skulldown will be able to overtake Kritin at this point. We're behind. There's also the battle for 21st between Tega Leonels and Florian Wilmer and Fabio Moreira. They are all three battling for position. And the 410 tries to defend the left lane. But Wilmer has better speed, and he takes the position from Leonels. So that's 21st place for Wilmer. Next car, or rather next target, is Fabio Moreira, as Leonels went on the grass early on as he goes into the pits. So that's another, technically, another overtake for Wilmer. Oh, what happened there? To the 410. Oh, major incident between Pobedinsky and Leonels, who rejoined the track without even looking, it seemed like. And so Leonels definitely in some struggle. So what happened here? So this is Livraghi. He's not really helping. So yeah, you can see from this perspective that the 410 just went back on the racetrack as if no one was there. So you can see from Leonel's point of view, rather from the helicam. So there was contact with the leader in GT4, and then it was just there. So you can see from this view Jasny Pobedinski was just passing through. Although there were yellow flags, so he had to be cautious, but the gap was there, and then it wasn't there anymore. Was there another incident at the time against his teammate Panarin? He was just behind the Mercedes AMG GT4, the number 407. Okay, it was very little contact. I thought it was way worse. Yeah, now Leonels has possibly some suspension damage. I wouldn't be surprised if the car is undrivable at the moment. As Mattia Max also is into the pits. And Milan Keys also made the stop, so he effectively is in 5th place. 3.5 seconds in front of Wiggle. As Pobedinski is back in the pits. And Skuldant is now entering the pits, so that's going to be an interesting pit stop. So Crichton is now 7 seconds behind the Wiggle, and if I remember correctly, the gap between the Wiggle and Skuldant was only 6 seconds early on, so this actually could be a position lost for Crichton in his strategy. As Skuldant is back in business, and he will come out of the pits just behind Crichton actually. You can see him 2 seconds up front. And somehow Panarin, after all that has happened to his race, is in 8th place. Although it has to be said that like 5 GT3s have either crashed or DNF'd altogether. So I can see the Porsche 111 is in 11th for the moment, and the Swatco is back with yellow flags. So the 114 has crashed in the middle of the mountain. This happened to the 114. This was a 116 Silver All that had an incident at the very tail end of the racetrack. Oh, he lost the rear twice and then hit the wall, kept the car close to the wall at least. And then there was, as I said, the 116 getting involved in some kind of incident. Oh, that's the car just going into the grass, and then the wall. And there was a 410 also getting involved. It's against... That's again Leonels. Going on the gravel. So Scotland only a second behind his rival in 6th place, that's Anatoly Crichton. Scanland. Oh, it just went wide into turn 1. Just a full second there. So he gets through a GT4. So 32 minutes to go. The gap between Brandon and Max is nearly a minute. And Canadian follows another 11 seconds behind. So in this lap, definitely Scotland didn't get closer to Cretin. The gap is 2.7 seconds. I really think that this battle could actually go on to get 4th place. Meanwhile, all inside the pits lost position on Pobedinski, who had to pit once more. To repair the car. So Christian Brennan made at 0.3, going a second quicker than anybody else, and also taking the purple lap out from Miatto. It was at 0.4. Zermo is slightly stuck in the lead, but he is again 55 seconds in front, so I don't think he's really caring at all about his loss of time. Credin is now only 10 seconds behind Max, but with 15 laps to go, Spanarin goes back into the pits, so that's why he was so far in front. But with 30 minutes to go, so 15 laps to go, to get back 10 seconds, practically need to go nearly a second quicker per lap. I don't think it can really happen. But Wiggle is now in 5th, only 3 seconds behind Kiss and Skuldant. After some struggles, he is 1.5 seconds behind Kritin, so the fights are not over. Spanarin is spinning just out of the pits. So this round has quite a chunk of cars struggling. As we've got several teams that DNF'd from the race altogether. Meanwhile, there was a mistake from Brennan. A rare mistake from Brennan, and also there was an incident between the 406 and the 112, or maybe it was just a tap, which I think it was. So this is the Nissan going through. Just go Livraghi. Oh, okay, that's a bit more than a tap. It's a 406 actually getting sent into the Shadow Realm. And that was Lorenzo Beagle. Who is now 3.5 seconds behind Milan Kiss instead of 2.5 seconds. Last lap it was only at 3.3 for Wiggle. But Kiss was at 3.5. So Kiss is struggling massively. Here there is the see a red lap, but just a cut of the chicane. Skeleton is, as you can see, close to Cretin. This will be for 6th place. As he goes over the inside line and takes the position. Oh, that's the car into the wall, and that's Cretin into the wall. After losing the rear, that was extremely odd. And Cretin into the wall. Not sure what happened to the 109. That was very, very odd. So we can see what happened from here. It was just short of what happened. Yeah, it was. You can see just losing the reel together and then crashing into the wall. And also there was an accident between the 104 and someone else. It's not mentioned who the other car was. Apparently it was the Nissan Nismo GTR. As Pogodinski unlaps himself, but I couldn't see any contact. So now Cretin with a completely damaged car is trying to. But I think he will be able to arrive 7th at the line, as his gap with Deshkov is nearly a minute, so he can lose time. The problem is that if he loses the car, he crashes again, then that's going to be an issue. But at this point I don't think he can repair the car without losing too much time either. It's possibly the repairing is more than 30 seconds. And if so, he will lose 8th place. But at this point, I would honestly do it just to be safe, because when the tires start to slip, you really don't want to lose stability. It may just be side damage instead of air damage. Then that's going to be bearable. But if not, that's going to be a huge issue for him. So Skadant is in 6th place. as I was saying earlier, that Wiggle was gaining on Kiss. He is not gaining anymore, well at least he wasn't in this lap, but with 23 minutes to go, Calendini gained 2 seconds in a single lap early on, not this one here in particular. The gap went from 10 to 8 seconds. And so now he really needs, in 11 laps, still needs about 1 second per lap, so it's still far away. So he gained enough time in a single lap, but I don't think he can rhythm this much. Brandon managed to make 0.4 in the last lap, so absolutely another class. Absurd situation there. So in this race, at the very start of the race, there were 28 teams. Now, on track, there are 24 teams. The KTM effectively out of contention since that car is 4 laps behind the closest car. As the lights are now required, since it's the 4. Can't really see which car it was. I think it was 4. Yeah, there is a KTM on the gravel. That's a 409. Speaking of which, Scandini. Oh, there is someone going off. That was the 410 getting hit by Polyakov, and that will be the second time this has happened. So you can see from here, that was pretty self-explanatory. And this has happened already 2 times. The 107 also. This time is Cleveland with yellow flags showing. Oh, he just lost the rear. Oh, he just lost the rear on the left-hander. The car on the gravel. Didn't collide with the wall. But he lost time, and I think he lost the chance to get into a battle for 5th, which can still happen because Milan Kiss is only 4 seconds in front of Wiggle. Now, Calendini lost 2 seconds in the last lap on Max. So I think that pretty much settles the score for the podium. Because unless Calendini managed to gain an entire second per lap, every single lap, without any exception, he managed to get close to Max, not even overtake him. But Wiggle can still make it. He's only 4.5 seconds behind Kiss. Suppose it was 0.1.9 for Kiss. It was a 0.2.4 for Wiggle. Possibly some GT4s in the middle may have ruined the pace. as long as he's back in the pits once more. And again, it was for Polyakov's mistake. So Polyakov maybe hit massively the post-race penalties. And the Yachts is 53 seconds behind. And who knows if that it will be enough. Why Cerberus is dead? Cerberus is not dead. It's here. Oh, you mean the overall? I have no idea. In any case, if you are participating in a race in the coming hour, you can use the ACC race connector. So that way you can simply. I'm not. I'm not an IT guy. I don't know how to resolve the server. I know how to go around the problem, so using ACC connector, but that requires a server, a personal server to play on. So you can't really. You can do that, but that's the only thing that can be done using the ACC connector and using a LAN server. Meanwhile, a lot of things are happening. So the 408 is again. Oh, that was very close. Between the 408 and the. I think it was Callan. Yeah, it was Callan in the 107. But a lot of things happened. It's 20 seconds. So we've got the start. The 111 getting involved in some incident of some kind. So Vimots are here. Oh, there was a car going into the wall. It was the GT4. That was a 4-1. Ooh, that was very odd. The rear just slipped off. And there was this one here for the 106. Oh, okay, I think it's just the onboard of Calendini's race car. So nothing too different from what we saw. And there was a 114 with a yellow flag. This time it was Mick Swatko. That couldn't really pass the GT4. Therefore, oh, there was also contact, and there was an incident between the two. With a 408, this was Alexander Franza getting hit by the. I think it was a huge misunderstanding by both cars. So yeah, that was very odd, to say the least. There was another yellow flag, this time from the 104, that's against Pobedinsky. It was either hit or it was just in the middle of the situation. So you can see the Lexus just going left and right. And this should be all of them. This should be all of them. As Livraghi, after 7 pit stops, so Livraghi managed to get a stopping of 30 seconds penalty, a stopping of 10 seconds penalty. And now Javi Garcia is into the pits. So there was also a drive-thru for the 406. Ah, so it's a drive-thru, not a stop and go 10. Okay, yeah. It's for some reasons. there is a stop and go 10, but it was a drive-through and a stop and go 30. Drive-through for track limits, stop and go 40 for speeding in the pizza. And Ibrahim managed to take both of them. And Wiggle is now only 3.7 seconds behind in fourth place. Milan Kiss lost. Oh, that's the Lexus just getting in the middle of the way. That's Skeltant with yellow flag. That's the leader in GT4 with yellow flags. So something happened to both of them. So what happened here to Skeltant? Oh, that's again another GT4 and GT3 issue. So GT4 didn't really leave any room and also collided with the GT3. That was again Nikolai Polyakov. He has been in a replay for incidents a bit too many times, and usually the limit is 1. He has been, I think, 4 times in a replay, involving himself causing an incident. And he's still leading the race, so I don't really understand why he's being so aggressive. This is 50 seconds in front of his rival. There is no need to be so aggressive to the others, especially to the GT3 class that is literally passing through. It's not really battling with you. You just have to slow down a tiny bit. Don't really understand these scenarios in which you endanger others simply because it's funny, I guess. Because that's the only reason that comes to my mind at this point. Now Wiggle is only 4 seconds, again 4 seconds actually. It was 4 seconds early on, when there were 20 minutes to go, and now 4 seconds are a bit too much maybe, because they just have 9, then 7, 5, 3, 1. So yeah, 5 laps to go. As Offerman is showing... Oh! Something happened to Offerman and Brennan. So what happened here? So Brennan, you can see here, Offerman just in front, he's in 4th place in class. Oh, huge misunderstanding. Oh, that's a car off! Into the wall! Oh, that's a big one. That's actually a big one. So we can see again, that's the car in 4th place in class. Getting thrown into the wall. This could be a huge penalty for Brennan. So that's the car heavily damaged. Unless Offerman, I think Offerman can finish the race in 18th overall, so 4th in class, considering his gap to Wilmer is 2 laps. So yeah, okay, I don't think anything will come out of this, but it could have been different. This could have been different, certainly. So Brandon will have damage to the car, but at this point I don't really think there is any... Oh, that's... car again. In Chris Tagos, at this point I will pit. There is 2 laps of advantage over Wilmer, so I can pit without really losing anything. So last lap it was a 2.1 for Wiggle, 2.2 for Kiss. 6 minutes and 56 seconds to go. And I am starting to think that a possible overtake for position number 4 will not happen. We'll just leave you for 1 lap to see Wiggles lines and maybe see if we can gain that time. At the moment, oh, Milan Kiss. It was a huge mistake. It could have ended badly for Kiss. But as it stands, 4 minutes to go. And quite frankly, I don't see any major thing change. In these 3 hours of Bathurst, which had an unusual amount of DNFs, and I would have expected more duty falls, especially in Bathurst, maybe because it's one of those tracks that, even if well, effectively Bathurst is one of the hardest tracks, so I can understand that maybe not everybody was keen on doing it. Remember, next week there is the 6 hours of the Nürburgring, as it's going to be the finale. Should be dry. It's always 48 minutes in time. It's going to be 3 of us in the commentary room. Theoretically it should be me, John, and I think either Olaf or Ben. I think it was Ben that is going to be the third commentator of that race. But also next week there is the finale in the Pro Series, where the championship is still there and still has to be decided. And to be fair, nobody knows the real result until the very end, so be sure to check out on Thursday evening, because the Pro Series is waiting for a winner. And then after these 2 races, that's the off-season, when multiple events of different, let's say, different popularity, because it's not the usual menu, because very different races with different rules, let's say. The off-season will start, and then the fun will begin compared to the next season, which is season 18 week season 19, apologies, which is season 19 week 1, obviously, as Oystein Brennum takes a white flag brought to you by ACC Drive, and effectively putting together a great season. Championship isn't over on the races, but it is over as to declare a winner, and West Competition Racing will come home with 10 licenses for ACC Drive, lifetime licenses for ACC Drive. Thanks to our partner, but also thanks to all of our partners in LFM, Case.D, C-Magic, SyncMesh, Go Setups, ACC Drive, obviously, as I already mentioned, and SyncMesh. Also, obviously, I already said it, and Nitro Concept. As a final yellow flag appears on my screen, but this is a 403 that is possibly waiting for the leader at this point, that is about to overtake the 403. Absolute marvelous race for Brennum, absolutely dominating the race in his BMW 101, although it has to be said that his opponent have been eliminated one by one for one reason or another. But in the end it will be Oystein Brennum for West Competition Racing that will win the 3 hours of Bathurst in our week number 11. TMX will follow in second in 1 minute time, and I think Nikolai Polyakov will arrive before him, although Christian Brothers third place in GT4 for Calit Racing Team. Then we've got, yes, I think Nikolai Polyakov will be able to complete the race before TMX. So the leader in GT4 for Dynamic MS Youngstars. Even for them, championship practically sealed, because they've been in the first places in every single race in the championship, or every single race they've been part of. And Nikolai Polyakov will win for the Dynamic MS Young Stars the 3 hours of Bathurst in GT4. Then Mattia Max follows behind. That's the second place in GT3. And Mattia Calendini, third place in GT3. Mattia Youths will arrive shortly. As that second place in class. In the Ginetta, which is the only non-Mercedes car, apart from the KTM, in last place, to be fair. But this Ginetta will arrive in second. So kudos to Apex Predator Racing Team that chose another car to be different, and Mattia Youths will arrive in second place in class. That's in GT4 category. Only 24 teams arrived at the finish line, and many other didn't make it. Miatto, Cabos, Glatter and Bavus being the ones that DNF'd in the race. This okay. So the result I need. So the standing endurance, they should be updated. Let me just now it should be correct. So this should be results in a race. So this was Paul Ricard. I think it takes a bit of time to update. Yeah, unfortunately it takes a bit of time to update itself. But in any case, next week is going to be the final week, so we've got the finale in the Pro Series where we still have to declare our winner, and the finale in the Endurance Championship, which will not be important for the championship, because we already have our winners. But will be important simply because it's a fun race and it's the longest race of the calendar. Trying to see if it updated in this time. As ACC crashed as always, as it always does, so I can't even tell you who arrived where since I don't have anymore the game. Let me try to see if it updated. No, it didn't. Possibly it needs some time. We'll just see whenever it updates. See if maybe you can see that prior to this race, the gap between World Competition Racing and CMRC Endurance by Barmina, who didn't even participate in this race, was about 3,000 points, so that's quite obvious why many teams are missing from the championship race. It's simply because there isn't a championship anymore. It has to be battled. I don't think... okay, yeah. Okay. The results for some reasons are still stuck to Paul Ricard, so at this point I will just go for the end, I think. Yes, I think. So I'm Cristian Romano, this was the 11th week of the Endurance ACC Drive. Oh, okay, there are the Mount Panorama results. West Condition Racing winning in front of Alpha Racing Team, MR Reparto Coaching, Drive Through Sim Racing and Pixel Pilots. That's top 5, and only 6 teams managed to stay on the lead lap, with the other 14 being lapped. Unfortunately for Tatum Restek getting the disconnection, for VMV team to their crash. Firefly Racing unfortunately getting hit by another car, and HR Racing team, which had practically the same outcome. Whilst in GT4, these are results in GT4. Dynamic MS Youngsters won the race in front of Apex Predator Racing Team, and they practically gapped the entire field by 1 lap at least, with Apex Predator Racing Team practically managing to stay on the lead lap simply by 3 seconds, or more or less that, with the Kali Racing Team being the first team lapped, and Firefly Racing completing in 4th, and 5th place for Kali Racing Team. In standings, this is the situation, with immense lead from West Condition Racing in front of Siemens Endurance, Bebarlinia, Fisher Racing Esports, 2-5 competition, and New Engine that didn't really participate in this race, so they didn't score any point, with the Reparto Coaching getting in 6th. And these were the updates for GT3, whilst for GT4, Dynamic MS Youngs are still in 1st in front of 4 club Firefly Racing, Apex Predator Racing Team that put points on the table but not enough to overtake Firefly Racing, and Akubia Racing in 5th. I am Cristian Romano. This was the 11th week of the Endurance ACC Drive series. Next week is the finale for both series. Have a good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, and see you next time. Bye!